Okay, when you go and have traditional archery lessons, after being explained about the safety procedures that are very important when you're actually starting to use the bow, the first thing that people will do is put some protective equipment on your arm and set you up to use the appropriate bow for your size. Now the bow itself has basically got a grip on it, and when people start to shoot, because there's so much going on in their heads, people start to develop this process where they're actually holding on to the bow, and when they release the arrow they keep holding on to the bow, which is basically going to be inappropriate later on. Now the point is, if you start doing this when you're beginning, it's quite hard to change these behaviours later on, because your brain thinks you need to hold on to the bow. So there's another learning process of having to undo what you're doing initially. So that's the reason why not using the bow initially allows you to feel what it is to release the bow when you shot your arrow. You don't want to be holding on to the bow, you want to feel as if the bow is travelling forward. It allows the arrow to release better than if you're actually holding on to the bow itself and manipulating something which is affecting the string. So what you're going to do by using this clinny band is experience what it's like to just let go. The knot represents the bow grip, this represents the string. You're going to put 3 fingers through the string, and you're going to put a bit of tension on it. So you're not pulling it, but you just got a bit of tension on the bowstring, because you're actually pulling the bow into this part of your hand. You're wanting to use the pad as basically the foundations against which you're drawing the bow. This pad, once you put it up, will be stationary. You won't be pushing forward. It's just basically going to feel like a raised arm, and you're going to draw against that. So when that grip is in place, you should feel it's going against the pad. We don't want the hand in this position, because when you're drawing the bow against this part of the flesh, you'll end up with variable draw distance, which is going to be a problem later on when you start to use things like the clickers. So you want to basically put your hand into that position. So that feels very firm, but I'm not pushing. It's just a case of raising. This shoulder is doing nothing other than raising the bow. I'm not crunching up like this. I'm simply raising, and I'm not pushing. This hand and this elbow are important to have in this position where the elbow is high, not down here. When you draw the bow, when you start learning, it's common for people to feel like they're actually using their bicep to draw. That's the last thing you want to be doing, and it's a very important thing to understand. An archery draw is driven by this back muscle. So, by lifting the elbow, when you raise, it engages these muscles. So I want you to feel as if there's a bit of tension in this area when you set to the raised position. If my elbows are down here, I don't feel any tension here, and when I draw, my bicep is doing the work. Totally inappropriate. What you're looking to do is engage the back such that when you draw, you can feel your back doing the work rather than your bicep. So this is important in respect of we're going to learn how to use this to simulate every action that you're going to carry out with the bow, but you're not concerned about where the arrows are going at the moment. We don't have any arrows. What you're doing is you're developing the correct physical movements, at the same time developing a mental pre-shot that's going to keep you focused on the specific tasks that you need to create the best shot. I'll show you from this position. So I'm looking to get my elbow reasonably high, not up here, not down here, just so that you start to feel a bit of tightness here. You raise and you draw.